Moving abroad alone sounds very exciting, doesn't it? A new country, a new life, freedom, and in many ways it is. But there are some parts of this experience that no one really talks about. Here are some reasons why moving abroad alone can be a little bit tricky. One, you don't become a new person, you meet yourself more deeply. I think a lot of us believe that moving abroad will change you, that we become more confident, more social, more put together. But what actually happens is that you meet yourself more clearly than ever before. There's no familiar environment to hide in, no routines, no people already know you, so everything you feel becomes a little bit more intense. And you will meet yourself in a very different way because you will put yourself into new situations you have never been in before. And you will learn a lot about yourself. You will discover things about yourself. Maybe you are different than you thought you were, or you surprise yourself. Comunque, you will find out some interesting things about yourself, whether good or bad. I don't want to say bad, but challenging maybe. But in that moment that you do, it's not going to be easy. It's quite confrontational, and yeah, it's the reality. Two, the loneliness hits in unexpected moments. Not always at night, not always when you're alone, but sometimes it's in these very small random moments. Like when you see people laughing together in a bar and you're not with someone else laughing, you're by yourself. And you wish you were one of them, but you're not. Or when something beautiful happens and you realize there's no one who you can share this moment with. It's a kind of loneliness that is very subtle, but it's a very real one. And if that moment happens, it can hit you by surprise, and yeah, it can feel more intense than if it would happen in your home country, because there you have your support system, there's the familiarity, and you feel just less alone. 3. Simple things can become quite heavy. Things that used to feel easy suddenly take way more energy. Making that phone call to make an appointment, understanding paperwork.
Ed è stato a Milano, però Milano è una gran bella città.
Molto.
Oggi
Non questa residenza qua. Lei dove ce l'ha la residenza?
Non ho ancora la residenza, ma...
Allora mi ha detto quindi
Ok.
sì.
Even going to the supermarket and ask for a specific ingredient, especially when you have to deal with a different language, in my case Italian, it can make you feel very small in a way that's hard to explain. Sometimes I feel like a little child when I have to describe things in another language. And no one really talks about this, but talking in your own native language is so relaxing, and you don't realize this until you put yourself in a situation where you're forced to use another language. 4. Beauty does not always equal happiness. I live in a place that is objectively super beautiful. The light, the buildings, the food, and yet there are days where I feel completely disconnected from it, because my internal world does not automatically match my external surroundings. And you can be in a beautiful place and still feel very lost or sad. And I think especially in a beautiful place, there's almost this unwritten rule that everything's supposed to be perfect and you should be happy. And then there's the contrast where you feel like you should be or feel a certain way, and when you don't, when you realize you don't feel that way, you almost feel guilty, you almost feel out of place, or there's something wrong with you, and that can make you feel the opposite of happy. 5. You start to see what you actually need. When everything familiar falls away, you start to see yourself more honestly. What you need in relationships, the kind of environment you function best in, the things that actually make you feel safe instead of just distracted. And that clarity can be confronting, but also very valuable. It is in that moment where you realize maybe that a specific part of your life you want it to change, but you don't know how to change it, or you know it's going to take some time to make that change happening. Is the confrontation with yourself can be very daunting, and to a highly sensitive person like myself, that can be causing challenge and moments of difficulty and emotions, heavy emotions. But I realized that's all okay. The emotions, they are there to serve me. We're gonna use the emotions. But if you experience these internal moments for the first time, it can feel quite foreign, literally. And I would just want you to be prepared for this. But it's temporary. Like life, everything is temporary. There's a beginning and there is an end. Also, these difficult moments have a beginning and an end. I always tell this myself, and it's always happening to us to help us to reach another stage where we feel better. It's always with a purpose. So I wanted to share that. 6. You build a different kind of strength. Not like the typical confident type of strength, but much more subtle. The type of strength that comes from figuring things out alone, from sitting with uncomfortable feelings instead of running away from them, and from continuing this. Even when things feel uncertain, you build this strength that is very powerful. But again, it's the building, it's the whole process towards this that can feel a little bit of different and a little bit difficult. But there's always an outcome that you feel like, oh wow, I did that all by myself. And you can feel very proud of yourself. But it's most of the time, it's not in the moment as you're doing it, but it's mostly afterwards where you're like, oh wow, I didn't know I had that in me. And yeah, it's all about perspective. I think for now what I've learned is that moving abroad alone is not about becoming this new person. It's more about meeting yourself in a completely new environment. And maybe that is the reason why I'm here. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you've learned so far in your moving journey, or what you're looking forward to, or what you're scared of, because it's all very valid and it's a great adventure, and I wouldn't have done it any other way. But I think it's important to talk about the beautiful parts, but also the parts that are as challenging. And I know it's a good thing because we are stepping outside of our comfort zone, and you're allowed to feel scared, and you're allowed to feel these heavy feelings. And I know that these are useful and we can use them to grow. And when we look back on these moments, we can be very proud of ourselves. And I think it's only for the good. Hope to see you in the next one. Ci vediamo. A presto. Ciao.